creating the load cases. So we'll go to the loads and static loads, create load cases. So let's give a self weight as a dead load type. Next we'll give a SIDL load. It's again a dead load, superimposed dead load. Then the live load or imposed load, so that will come under the type of live load. And lastly we'll just check out how to give the wind loads on structure. Okay, so now that we're done, we'll go ahead. The first thing to do is give the self weight of all the elements that we have modeled over here. So -1 in the z direction and apply, and then next is about the assigning floor loads. Now over here, to assign the floor loads, we have got load types. So these load types are provide the floor load. In this case, give it the SIDL, go for it for the self weight. Self weight will be, let's say, 3.75, and that will be in the minus direction. And next we want to provide this SIDL, so let's say -2. They've got some storage and all, so -2. And live load, not much people are going to be there, so -1. And add. Similarly we can do it for roof, and this is what I mean. Okay, now over here my roof self weight is not going to be so much, as it's going to be the sheets only. So -1, the SIDL won't be as such, so let's keep it as none. And live load, no one is actually going to go there, but still for safety's sake let's keep it as 0.5 and add. Okay, so now we're going to assign this floor loads first. So now you can see over here that the floor is pretty big. We have not created any beams, sub beams over there, so no need to worry. We don't need to create those sub beams, we just have to use the number of sub beams. No need to model it, just give it the number of sub beams that we want to create. So those will be 4 numbers of sub beams. So this is like 1, 2, 3 and 4 number of sub beams that we'll be creating. And we can give the self weight of, and now we're going to just define the loading area, and we can selecting one way and select the nodes, and there you go, our one way reaction is done. Now similarly we're going to do it for this area. Okay, next we are going to use the floor loads, roof loads, that will be in one way direction. Now over here the number of sub beams that I want to create would be those, like say 8. Because unit self weight is let's keep it as -1 itself, and provide it with this direction. So as you can see over here, these number of beams have been created, sub beams have been created. And similarly let us keep the number of sub beams as 6 in this case. So let me have define the load area, clicking on the nodes, and there you go. So this is done. Similarly I will be creating no sub beams over here because we already have the purlins. So let us create the roof load for this area, canopy area, because we're gonna have sheets over there also. So here we go, we are done with assigning the floor loads. Create the lateral load, that is the wind load. So we'll be adding over here the wind load. And the wind load will use the Euro code. The recommended value annex will be the recommended one. Then as per the parameters you can select the terrain category, the friction coefficients, and so on. This is like external pressure coefficients will be automatically taken in this case, and lack of correlation factors also automatically taken by the software itself. Now parameters for the mean velocity, so this is about the orographic effects, so we can choose the various parameters, like if it's on the cliffs and escarpments, and what would be the wind direction, it's upwind for the building location. Okay, so these are all the parameters. All you have to do is just know the code, fill in whatever the values you require, And then we'll come to the load direction. So firstly, let us provide in the y direction. This is one way, and if you want to provide in the x direction, then x factor will be 1 and y will be 0. So let me just provide it in the y direction for now, like we have decided, and we can just do this minus so that we can see the rest of the commands, and say apply over here. And if we go to the wind loads, then we can see that the story force diagram graph has already been created. We can see the story shear and the overturning moment graph as well. So this is how you can get it. Plus you can make the wind load calculation sheet, and you'll get what all parameters that you had provided to the software and how the software has calculated all the elements that are required to provide the pressure.